Hey y'all, this is Lydia. This is a Mayan cross reading for September 13th of 2021. Today, the galactic signature is the red cosmic skywalker, and that cosmic tone deals with movement. And if you think about astrology and you think about even the Mayans being super obsessed with tracking the planets never stop. They're always in movement. And even nature is always in movement from season to season, from day to day, from night to day. We have these cycles and these perpetual cycles, and everything is always in flux. It's never stagnant. Stagnancy isn't natural. And that 13th tone reminds us of that. If there's anything stagnant within us, it will break it down to get us back into flow and back into movement. And what the Red Skywalker wants for us is to really dance in that and be in that and really open up to manifesting heaven on earth for ourselves and living life in that way. And the shadow coming up for today in terms of the Mayan cross, it's definitely one of allowing our shadow to be the teacher, which again has been a major theme lately. It's this idea of moving into it and actually dialing into it and diving deeper into it to get to the wisdom, to get to the lesson, to get to whatever gifts it has to offer, because our shadow isn't against us. Our shadow is actually here to teach us. So the conscious self today, or who we are becoming today, is the castle, and that's dealing with protection. It's dealing with, these stable walls and being and feeling protected. The sun has entered the last decan of Virgo, which is those 20 degrees, from 20 to 29 degrees is the last of any given sign. And that has 2 in every single number, deals with feelings. So it's always a sensitive time, but at the same time, it's a masterful time of mastering our feelings and getting into our feelings. And we kick that off with 20 degrees, which is what we woke up to today, dealing with protection and protecting our feelings. But the danger with, the castle is we can get stuck there. We can be there so long that we get used to the dark dankness of the castle, and we get a little lost in that sort of stagnant energy of being a little too protected. At some point, we have to step out again. It's okay to go to the castle to protect, but the sun moves from 20 to 21 degrees today, which is going from that protective 0 to that heart-based 1. And 21 is Sagittarian. It's moving us out. So who we are becoming today is perhaps taking this protection and moving forward. We'll see when we get to the guide. But the subconscious self, or our hidden helper for today, is apocalypsis. And this is removing the veils of deception, and perhaps going back to the castle, removing that veil of deception of where we're just sort of hanging out and not moving forward, and perhaps making excuses for ourselves of, it's okay to be here, I'm okay here. But again, with that 2 feeling in those 20 degrees, that feeling of, actually, I'm not comfortable here. It's time to move on. Is my ego sort of playing an ego trick on me to keep me in a stagnant place when really I want to expand. I want to go out and explore, and I want to move forward deep down in my heart. And so the guide for today is the medallion, which is interesting because, again, with the castle and being in this space that we've been in for too long, the medallion deals with old relics and things we've been holding on to that vibrationally don't even match us anymore. And we're just holding on to it because maybe it's always been there, or maybe it's comfortable for us. And not even comfortable, but just familiar, because really when we're in our comfort zone, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's not really comfortable. It's actually uncomfortable. It's just familiar. And perhaps we're too afraid of stepping out of our protective zone into the unknown. And so we're holding on to these old medallions, but the medallion wants us to really take inventory of what we are holding on to and what needs to be let go so that we can expand, so that we can move into new energy and new feelings. And again, with Red Skywalker, grounding heaven on earth. So the challenge for today is the orphan, feeling alone, abandoned, feeling perhaps unseen, unheard, unloved. And, wow, this is so good. Going back to the castle, it's just perhaps it's time to step out. Perhaps the reason you're feeling this challenge of feeling alone is because you're a little too guarded. Perhaps it's time, with that Sagittarian energy today, to move out and to expand and to be curious and to be social even. and to really dial into our heart and actually ask our hearts, like, what do we need in this moment? What do we need right now? And what perhaps are we holding on to that's keeping us from fulfilling those needs? And the compliment for today is the animal, which deals with instincts. It deals with that inner knowing, and that not so much trying to figure out what the problem is, but just following our instincts and trusting that if we're naturally flowing throughout our day, then we will find ourselves being guided into that, out of that stagnant energy into movement. And again, the animals aren't stagnant. Animals are always doing what they're naturally meant to do. They hunt when they need to hunt. They sleep when they need to sleep. They procreate when they need to procreate. There's no really like trying to control it and trying to put it into a box. There is actually a box on this castle card, a square, and it's like, it's time to break down those walls. It's time to get into a more dynamic flow and a more dynamic equilibrium by always being in the present moment and moving forward from that place, and not necessarily trying to, you know, be so stagnant and so protected and try to maintain a certain way of being when really we're not meant to be that way. That's not natural. We are part of nature. We are instinctual beings, and when we tap into that instinct, we are guided by our intuition. And again, going into the shadow and really allowing our shadow right now to come up to show us where we're being stagnant. That cosmic 13-degree energy is really taking a jackhammer to us to break down those rigid structures to get us through into more movement. So I hope this message resonates. I'm sending love and wishing you well. Bye.